And here's an interesting clip saying how Queen Elizabeth got married to the Nazis. Turns out that Prince Christoph von Hesse, here he is in his Nazi SS uniform, was a high-ranking Nazi. He was a chief of Hermann Göring's secret intelligence service and an aide to Heinrich Himmler of the SS, you see. In the center you see Prince Christoph von Hesse. This is another one of these black nobility families, the Hesse family. Married Princess Sophia, or Sophie, the sister of Prince Philip. All right? So Prince Mountbatten, or originally Battenberg, married the Princess Elizabeth, the present Queen. And in the Irish Origins book I go into great detail on this Oldenburg family and the Dutch connections and all of that. But again, go and study the Ustashi. There's many spellings of that word. It's really something to look into. You think you know about atrocity? You always got something more to learn. Wherever you talk about Ustashi, though, and ultimately every time you talk about Nazi, you're talking Vatican, by the way. You're talking Jesuits and you're talking Illuminati, because, as I said, there's not a hair's breadth difference between all of these organizations once you've done your homework. The expert on the subject of the Ustashi and their criminal history is the great Baron Avro Manhattan, and I recommend his books to everybody sitting here, and everybody listening to this presentation should definitely at least get one of this man's phenomenal books. And of course he, like others, has pointed out that when these guys moved, when they had to leave Croatia, when the Nazis had to leave Germany, a lot of them regrouped in South America, in Mexico. And then the ones who could moved up into Americas, into California, and this is the trail that we are talking about. Wherever you're talking about Vatican, wherever you're talking about international secret orders, you have to be talking also about the IRA. They're all connected to this. And what do you know? Madam N's contacts in California, in San Francisco, was the Irish underground IRA networks, who are very much deeply involved in all of this that we're talking about. And if you study their symbolism, people can go to my article, the Occult History of Ireland, and check that out. Really interesting story unfolds there. There it is, the Occult History of Ireland. It's on the Majkl Tsarion website. It said like I said, one of her most faithful lieutenants was Colonel Majkl Aquino. Formed the Temple of Set, which was implicated in many satanic scandals, and also by Cathy O'Brien, by the way. He himself was implicated in 1988 in a child abuse case involving military top brass at the Presidio in San Francisco. This was actually broken, the story was broken by Linda Golston of the San Jose Mercury News. He was never formally charged, but everyone knew that he was deeply involved in the pedophilia there. There's Anton LaVey with Majkl Aquino when they were friends, and Sammy Davis Jr. As I say, Jane Mansfield and so many other celebrities were very intimately involved in these cults. Aquino and LaVey split over the Madam N and Tuesday Weld split. And I personally believe it was Majkl Aquino who actually mind-controlled Richard Ramirez, the so-called Night Stalker. That's just my own theory on that. As I say, Jane Mansfield again. I don't know. I mean, even Anton LaVey had to complain about her, all right? That she's over the top into Satanism and stuff. And there's Majkl Aquino at his location of the Temple of Set. He and Madam N did their best to try and undermine the LaVey and Weld connection and their power. One of the other people under the direct influence of Madam N was none other than Jim Jones. And if you think he was kind of crazy or the worst, think again. He was small potatoes, actually, compared to what they do. It turns out that Turner found out that Madam Ann's circle actually in the Santa Cruz Hills area bred children to be directly, this was confirmed by people like Ted Gunderson and others, that mothers who were part of this cult were actually having children, just like in a Rosemary Baby situation, in order to directly involve those children in these cults and rituals. Jim Jones's father, by the way, was deeply involved with the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK. And so when you see these Jim Joneses and all these people, we got to realize that they were children once. They may have been generationally part of this these rings. And of course, the locations where I'm talking about, Santa Cruz Hills and all, is not a million miles away from guess where. Now, we were talking about Hollywood celebrities, but up where Madam N is now positioned, and the Santa Cruz Hills and Los Angeles, Laurel Canyon, what have you, you also have the Silicon Valley. And I lived there for many years and know it through and through. Now, wish we had time to go into greater detail on all of this, but this is another place which is just drenched in symbolism, Masonic symbolism, and many other cult activities. We're talking about, this is the home of like Moffett Field Military Base, Lockheed Martin, NASA, and so many other what I consider out-and-out sinister orgs, not including the Hoover Institute, the SRI, and just can go on and on and on about it. I've lived within a stone's throw of most of these places and studied them intimately to my own horror. But if we look at, again, bands, one I can refer you to, again, without directly implicating these people, I just want you to examine their symbolism, no more, make your own conclusions. Skinny Puppy, the band, is a very interesting band, directly under the influence of the process. So you can go and check it out yourself. This is open for they put it out there. Go and look at it. Look at their album covers, the serpentine symbolism they're using, the bizarre. And of course, the music business is infested with this. I mean, you just close your eyes and put your hand out, and there they are. But this band, particularly the strange, bizarre, levels of symbolism that they're into, is quite interesting. And I personally believe, because I'm a fan of heavy metal, I believe that some of these creatures are giving a bad name to real heavy metal, which is ultimately countercultural and in a way spiritual in my eyes. But see, they know that that's going to rise. So then they put in their own versions, the faux versions, to co-opt the symbolism of a musical genre in order to contaminate and drag it down, or to confuse things so much that the kids can't tell what's the good from the bad. Adopting their imagery, you see. This album is called The Process. Oh, excuse me, this album. It's one of their latest albums. It's actually called The Process. And on it, the songs I noticed were Process, Death, Cult, Candle, Crucible, and Amnesia. In the Atlantis video, I talked about this, and we mentioned specifically something I want to bring out again, which is this actual known Masonic rite called Cagliostro's Egyptian rite, which involved a virginal boy or girl as an oracle or even priest or priestess. These virgins were known in Masonic circles as the Kolum or the doves. Watch the symbolism again. Watch the symbolism in the movies. Remember, anybody ever check out the symbolism of the beginning of Howard Stern's little crazy program that used to be on, the symbols of the doves, or look at the Visa credit cards or whatever, the doves in James Bond. You'll see the symbol of that, the assassin. Where's the symbol of the dove? Count Cagliostro, Giuseppe Balsamo, he was the Mason who set up that rite, or at least it's in his name. Here's a famous personality who's very much at the center of all of this, Joan Baez. Joan Baez was involved, as I say, in the circle. She wrote this interesting song. You don't have to play me backwards to get the meaning of my verse. You don't have to die and go to hell to feel the devil's curse. Let the night begin, there's a pop of skin and a sudden rush of scarlet. There's a little boy riding on a goat's head and a little girl playing the harlot. There's a sacrifice in an empty church of sweet little baby Rose. I'll say that one again. There's a sacrifice in an empty church of sweet little baby Rose, and a man in a mask from Mexico is peeling off my clothes. I've seen them light the candles, I've seen them beat the drums. I've cried, Mama, Mama, I'm cold as ice, and I've got no place to run.